And Niki Ashton's with me now from Hamilton. First of all, Niki Ashton, thanks for taking time to speak with me. It's good to have you with us. And let me start, first of all, with how you're feeling as you campaign with twins due in what is it, less than 2 months now? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Things have been really good. I'm fortunate to work with a great team, and I'm really energized by the race. And of course, now pretty excited that we're in the final stretch.
All right. So what's your final pitch going to be to the NDP members as they get set to make their choices between you and the three other candidates for the leadership following this weekend? What do you want the members to be thinking about?
Well, this is our chance to make a difference. This is our chance to stand up and take on the big challenges of our time, growing inequality and the threat of climate change. Our campaign right from the beginning has made it very clear that we need to put forward a bold, progressive vision to take on these big challenges, that we need to build a movement for change, reconnect with the grassroots, connect with activists, with community leaders that believe in our values, that share our values. We also need to be getting out there and reaching out to young people who will be the largest voting bloc in the next election, my generation, the millennial generation. And we've seen a lot of enthusiasm for a platform and a vision that stands for principles, that stands for bold ideas, and that's what my final pitch will be about as well. Yeah,
you've promised that an NDP led by Niki Ashton won't let itself be out-lefted again by the Liberals in an election campaign, and you're clearly seen by most observers to be the candidate who's on the furthest left part of the spectrum. Why are you happy to occupy that space, and why do you think it is what the NDP needs in a new leader now?
Well, I'd say, first of all, I mean, our campaign and our vision is very much rooted in our principles. I've talked about the work of Tommy Douglas. I've talked about the work of Jack Layton. I've talked about the need to reconnect with our roots, and roots that I think in some ways we've distanced ourselves from. And what I'm seeing certainly echoed across this country, what I've seen over the last number of months, is that many New Democrats, many progressives are hungry for a platform that stands for something and that truly puts forward bold ideas to take on the challenges of our time, like tax reform, like free tuition, like standing up to big oil, like calling for racial justice and gender justice. And so what we're saying is progressive politics is smart politics and is the way of the future.
If change is what the NDP needs, a lot of people are suggesting that Jagmeet Singh is the candidate who best provides that opportunity for change, who can best grow the party. Why do you think he's not the right choice for NDP leader?
Well, I think every candidate brings something really exciting to this race, and we've seen that right from the get-go. We've seen the way in which everyone's contributed to the growth of the party in many different ways. What we've said from our side.
But he seems to have raised the most money. He seems to have. He says he's brought on 47,000 new members, just his own campaign. If you look at those kinds of things and say that seems to be the person who seems to be energizing the party.
Yeah, well, I think we've all signed people up. We've all raised money. I'm really proud of the kind of the campaign that we've run that has also inspired many people to come back to the NDP, many young people to sign up for the first time. But what I will say is that it's up to the members to decide. Obviously, a number of folks have been voting, and as of Monday, everybody will have a chance to vote online. It's a very dynamic race, so who knows what might happen. But I think at the end of the day, what we're hearing is that people want the way forward to be inspired by ideas, by principles, and we've seen the way in which some of our positions and the principles we've shared have actually pulled other candidates and campaigns in a more progressive direction. It's yes, we are picking a leader, but we're also deciding on a vision for the way forward for the NDP and for Canada.
The party fortunes in Quebec have taken up a lot of space in the campaign. 16 of 44 MPs in the NDP caucus are from Quebec, and as you know, there are now some rumblings in the caucus over the position of the candidates on Bill 62. One MP even says he'll look at sitting as an independent if the new leader doesn't endorse Quebec's right to decide these matters of identity. So what is your position on whether the Quebec government has the right to decide whether a woman can wear a face covering when receiving or delivering government services or not?
Well, first of all, I will say that I've made it very clear from the beginning, and I mean this has always been my position as a feminist and as a feminist activist, is that no one should be able to tell a woman or anyone what they can or cannot wear. That it is absolutely critical that in whatever legislation we put forward, that the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is respected. And as I've indicated, it is important to respect Quebec's ability to come up with legislation on any and all issues, as every other province has the ability to do so as well. Obviously, you know, I do have confidence that both the Quebec Charter and the federal Charter of Rights and Freedoms will be adhered to. That remains to be seen. The bill has not reached its final form. But one of the things that we've said is you know, we need to build in Quebec, as you've pointed out. We've got a number of MPs there. We need to connect with so many progressives that are in Quebec on a range of issues, and our campaign has had a very strong presence in Quebec, a lot of energy there. I'm honored to have been endorsed by 3 Quebec MPs, and no question that if we're going to build the NDP going forward, Quebec is a key part of it.
All right, but so the straight answer here, so if the Quebec government passes Bill 62, what would your position be as leader of the NDP? That it's wrong and it shouldn't have done it, or that you don't agree with it, but Quebec's right has the jurisdiction to do what it wants to do?
Well, I will say, I mean, it's not in its final form, and you know, I've been an MP for almost 10 years, so I don't, you know, I don't like dealing in hypotheticals. We'll see what the final form of the bill is. As I mentioned, you know, I would hope that the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is adhered to, but like I said, of course, it is up to people on the ground to take up the issue going forward. What we've said is we have to be clear in our principles in terms of the right of women and others to dress as they choose, and the importance of adhering to the charter. And
but
we'll
you understand that answer would not give comfort to an MP like Pierre Nantel, who said what Pierre Nantel wants to hear you say is Quebec can do what it wants in matters of identity, but you're not saying that.
I actually had a chance to speak to him yesterday, in fact,
okay.
and we had a good discussion, and you know, I understand where he's coming from, but I also understand where a lot of folks in Quebec are, and a lot of progressives in Quebec are, and you know, we've made our position quite clear for well, it's been a few weeks now, and like I said, you know, at the end of the day, what's really critical is building the party in Quebec, and certainly well, and across the country as well.
All right, Niki Ashton, good luck as you move from this weekend on to the final phase, which is the voting and the results as we get to see them over the next few weeks. Appreciate your time today. Take care.
Thank you so much, Peter.